The last one I told you about here is the social studies. So I talked about culture, traditional, and sports, and obviously coming from New Zealand myself, this one was a bit more of a simplistic one to do. This excerpt connects for me and like the traditional sports and how they've kind of come into the mainstream side of things. So for me, as a Pākehā, so white European, and mixed Māori heritage, we learned about Māori Kaiōrahi, which is basically a different form of kind of like capture the flag in ways, using a little ball. So for me, the language systems, and I teach this already in school over here, and that's kind of just teaching them the breakdown of like the origins of the sport, why is it called the way it is, why was it played. This gives them a bit more of an understanding, like for some, because some sports are cultural, some are, have other meanings behind them just being a normal sport. The morphology is like the cult or the care / traditional handover. So where it comes from, how it's passed through the generations and how it's adjusted and changed is always important. The semantics of the tradition is practice based down. So how it started, why it is the way it is, and why is it changing, and how is it becoming into the main population. So for us now that we teach Kaiōrahi in schools in New Zealand, so all elementary school kids learn how to play it. My kids in elementary and middle school really, really love it. We do it on our international sports days. So for the 2 weeks, we will teach different sports from a different world. This is one of the big ones that they really enjoy. The syntax is the sequin in history. So in like ancient New Zealand, they used to use this sport for preparing for war or for competition between other tribes. Some text features would be like the timelines, primary sources, and maps of where this is played, origins, and where it's moved to now. The pragmatics would be like the link to sport culture and identifying its value. So why was it important to the culture? Why was it played so much? And linking that back into the sports component, how it relates to other sports, can kind of create a bridging for different people and different cultures as well who maybe have no relationship to the sport or the culture it comes from. For me, the teaching moves would be the analysing how the cultural words are used, why they're used, why is it called what it is, why are these items called, because they're roughly translated from English, like the kaitiaki, it means guardian, but it's more of a goalkeeper, so that understanding of why is more of like breaking down the language just for them to understand a different version. Show them how the traditional meaning is different from the modern, so as the game evolves, not every aspect of the game evolves, so sometimes the words will stay traditional, while sometimes will evolve within the modern text and change, which I think is always healthy for everything as well. Using timelines or maps or scaffolds is another approach that I'd look to use. Within the Ocho Organizer example, using the description for sports as cultural practices. So again, why is it utilized within the bigger scheme of things? What festivals they'll play it. They used to have their own sites at the villages where they would play these sports. So breaking that down into giving them a bit more context for the kids, it kind of expands their eyes into a world they maybe will never see. Examples would be like the research of traditional games present to the class, or just again giving them a quick breakdown of what the game is, why it was played, the historical presence of it. Lesson idea would be students research a traditional game, share its origins, and explain values it represents. So depending on the age, for older kids you could easily break this down for them to start diverging into more expansive activities across the world, to some very obscure, very minor games, to some very big ones that are becoming more popular in the main scene. That would be one of the good practices that I would look to do. Yeah, thank you.